You know, I don't think there's been a more boring time than now. You know, you can't go outside, you can't see anyone. You've played all the games, you just walk around the house picking things up, putting them down. And who knew, but within these 52 things, there is a lot to do, not only with others, but actually by yourself. So today I'm going to show you 3 really fun things you can do with a deck of cards. And these things sort of splinter out into even more things that you can continue to work on, practice, get better at. It's a lot of fun, so let's get into it. Now this first section is about games. Yes, games. Now there's all sorts of games that you can play with other people, like Go Fish, Crazy Eights. When you get older, you can play poker or blackjack, but there's actually all sorts of games that you can play by yourself. One of my favorites is called Pyramid. Now, the way Pyramid works is you start by, of course, shuffling the cards. You want to do this when you play any sort of card game. Then you want to deal the cards in a pyramid pattern. Now that we've got all of our cards dealt out, the name of the game is to make as many pairs of 13 as possible. That means you're trying to get things that add up to 13. Now, of course, a deck of cards doesn't go up to 13. So our Jack is going to be our 11, our Queen is going to be our 12, and our King is going to be our 13. Since Kings are 13, that means whenever you come across one, you can just immediately get rid of it. So the reason we've dealt it out in a pyramid pattern is because you can't make any pairs with cards that are currently covered up. So once we start to make some pairs, well, we're going to uncover these back rows. So as you can see, this 3 here, it's covered up by a 6 and a 5. But once these 6 and 5 are gone, we're going to be able to play with that 3. If we start off here, we can make a pair with our 6 and 7. 6 plus 7 equals 13. We're going to put these off into our score pile. If we look at anything else, well, it doesn't look like anything else is adding up to 13. So if we stopped there, well, that would be a pretty boring game. So we've actually got our stockpile. Our stockpile is the rest of the cards that weren't dealt out into the pyramid. The way our stockpile is going to work is we're going to draw a card at a time and set them into our stockpile. So I've just drawn an 8 and put it into my stockpile. And let's see, is anything, a 5. 5 plus 8 equals 13. So I'm going to pair up my 8 and 5, and I'm going to put them off to the side. Now, just like I was saying, we can use this 3. Look, this 10 and 3, we can pair these up now. See how the game sort of rolls on like a snowball rolling down a hill. Of course, not every card you get from the stockpile is going to pair up. So say I draw another card from my stockpile because I can't make any other pairs. My 9, well, it could go with my 4, but let's just say it can't. Let's say I had to take another card. So now I have a 9 under my 7. The way that's going to work is, well, I can't play with the 9, but I can play with the 7. So until I get rid of that 7, I can't touch that 9. You want to keep working through the game until you no longer have any pairs and you've completely run out of your stockpile. Just for shows, I will show you what a full game looks like time-lapsed. So I've got my whole stockpile here, and no 7 can go with anything here to make another pair. So I've actually completely run out of moves. This is what my score pile looks like. These are all the pairs I've made, and this is the remains of my pyramid. So the way it works is very rarely are you actually going to go through your whole pyramid. So you're going to add up all of your cards, and that's going to be your score. So that means the less, the better. A perfect pyramid score, one where you get rid of all your cards, equals 0. If anyone's wondering, my total ended up being 86. There's actually a version of this game that I like better. This one is called Giza. And instead of just having one stockpile, you actually make rows of 3. So remember how I had that one really long row of cards I could take from that weren't in my pyramid? Well, now I've got 3 rows of them. And whenever you run out of pairs to take from your stockpile into your pyramid, well, you make another row. And just like our stockpile from before, you can only take from cards that are uncovered. The only difference is, with this one, you can pair up cards within the stockpile. Say, if I had a 6 and a 7 and they were uncovered, I could pair those and score them so that I could get to the cards underneath. This makes it really fun because there's a whole bunch of stuff you're interacting with, and there's all sorts of options before you. Remember how I said there's all sorts of ways to branch off from these? Well, Pyramid is just one simple example, so once you've got it mastered, once you've tired it out, check out some other games like Solitaire. They're very complicated, but they're extremely fun. I've got to say, even with Pyramid, I am completely hooked. It is super fun. I can't believe just a deck of cards can be so fun just by itself. Now, the second part of this video is card tricks. Yes, card tricks. Now, I wasn't really able to master many physical tricks. I can do the card spring like that. That's pretty fun. But in the interest of time, I've learned a magic trick. Yes, a magic trick that I'm going to show you how to do. Now, of course, they say no good magician ever reveals their tricks, but this is a really fun and easy card trick to bewilder some of your friends and family. What you want to start by doing is taking 21 cards out of the deck. So I've got my 21 cards. This is a regular deck. There's no sort of tricks going on. These are 21 regular cards from a deck of cards. You want to ask your participant, pick a card, any card. So they're going to go in, they're going to pick. Let's say they pick the 9 of spades. So this is their card. Make sure they see it and you don't, and put it back in. Next, you just want to shuffle it up and then tell your participant, okay, tell me in which of these 3 piles is your card. And then you want to take your cards and you want to deal them into 3 piles. As you can see, our 9 of spades is there. Of course, we won't know that it's there, but at the end, they're going to point out this pile. So once you've dealt these 3 sets of cards, your participant's going to say, oh, well, my card's in this pile. Again, you won't know what card it is, but what's very important is that you take this pile and you put it in the center of the other 2 piles like that. Now, being a magician, you want to be a little more suave, a little less conspicuous than that. So you want to kind of just grab the pile, put it in the middle casually, and then take the cards, deal them into 3 more piles, and do the same thing. You're not going to want to shuffle them. Once again, deal them into 3 piles and tell them to tell you which pile their card is in. So there's the 9 of spades. Remember, we don't know that, but it's there. Now, once again, you're going to ask, okay, which card is your pile in? Which pile is your card in? They're going to say this one. You're going to be, okay, and you're going to put that pile in the center. And again, not shuffling. You're going to do this 2 more times. Say, okay, tell me which pile your card's in. So we can see the 9 of spades in the middle pile there. Now, by this point, you can sort of start to act like you don't know what's going on. You can be like, okay, your card's in this pile, right? And I'll be like, oh, no, it's in this pile. And you'll be like, okay, shoot. And you take this pile and put it in the center. Now, after this 3rd time, what you're gonna wanna do is count to the 11th card. So we're going to put our cards in piles 1 more time, just like we've been doing before, but this time you're gonna do some counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, you don't want to be counting out loud because then you sort of give it away. But once you get to the 11th card, we've got 10 down here. Think, okay, is this your card? And as you can see, our 9 of spades is right there. The whole trick with this game is just After 3 sets of piling, we know that their card is going to be the 11th card. Now, don't ask me why, but some magician, mathematician figured it out, and always, if you deal these out into 3 piles and then do it a 4th time, it will always be the 11th card. Now, in full view is that card trick. Pick a card, any card. This one? Okay. Now, tell me which pile your card's in. Let me guess, it's in this pile. No, this one? Ah, shoot. All right, let's try it again. All right, your card's in this pile. Oh, it's in this one? Ah, dang it. Okay, one more time. Okay, I've got a really good feeling about this one. Your card's in this pile. It's in this one? Do you mind if we try one more time? Let me guess. Your card is this one. And just like at the beginning, our card is the 10 of hearts, the 11th card. Now, of course, that's a very easy magic trick, and now you all know the answer to it. But it's a good starting point for magic, and honestly, it's gonna blow the socks off of most people that you meet. All sorts of much harder magic tricks you can learn require a lot more math, a lot more card control, but they're really fun to learn, and all you need is one of these and access to internet or a book of magic. Now, here's a bonus trick to kind of just make you look cool. It's not a magic trick, it's a physical trick, and this is the card spring. Now, I haven't mastered it myself. I can't even do it with a full deck of cards, and to be honest, guys, you're gonna need some pretty strong hand muscles for this one. Thing with visual card tricks is you kind of need big hands to do them, and so until you're a big sad adult like me, you can't do them as easily. All you want to do for this one is start by practicing with only part of your deck. I've got half of mine here, but you can honestly start with a quarter. Now you want to start by holding your cards in your dominant hand just like this. See, I've got my middle finger, my ring finger, and my pinky on this side, my pointer finger here, and my thumb here. This part's not terribly important, but you want to grab that with your other hand, putting your ring finger, middle finger, and index finger at the top of the card in one corner, and then your thumb on the bottom of the card in the other corner. So as you can see, I've got my 3 fingers on this corner here, and then my thumb on this back corner. So that I'm kind of, if you look at the way the card is bending, it's bending inward there. Now, all you have to do for this one is sort of bend the card and then move your thumb slightly so that it shoots the card out. You can have a look. Now, a lot of people think that you shoot off the fingers here. You actually shoot off the thumb. So all there really is to it is do that bending motion, but then just sort of adjust your thumb slightly so that you're sort of shooting through the cards. And when you can do it really fast and really clean, it looks really cool. Now, of course, again, I'm not the best at it. These visual card tricks, they can be some of the coolest ones to look at, some of the most impressive ones. And these are sort of just the beginning. There's all sorts of wild stuff. You can find out how to ruffle them and throw them around and let them land in your hands. It's wild. So I encourage you to practice some of those, check them out on YouTube and see how you do. The third part of our video, the last part, is about card houses. Yes, houses of cards. Now, the ones you've probably seen look something like this. Ah, dang it. No, okay, that's not the way card houses work. Sure, maybe you can try to set them up like this and have some mild success, but I'm telling you, it is not the best way. We ain't messing around with no triangles here. Triangle might be the strongest shape in architecture, But houses of cards play differently. A house of cards that's going to last, that's going to be able to withstand the weight of a concrete block, you want to start with a first layer that looks something like this. Now, you're probably thinking, Logan, a house of cards, that is the most boring thing I've ever heard of.
No, it's not.
These require a lot of patience, yes, and they can be incredibly frustrating. I've screamed a few times off camera now, but once you start getting these heights of cards, it can be so much fun, and there's so much creativity to it. I mean, sure, there's a right way to build the grid and the roof, but from there, you're kind of just working on your own wits. You're kind of seeing what's working, moving cards to and fro. It's actually a lot of fun, so I'll show you how to do it. Yeah, that means kind of sweeping this off to the side. So as you can see, our main shape is going to start like this. The most important thing is that you've got this sort of square here in the center. It doesn't really matter what way your cards are facing for now. So the best way to start out this square pattern, the pros call it the grid, is by taking a card, placing it in one direction, like this, and then taking another card and leaning it up against it. Now you're going to have to keep one hand holding one of these cards up. Now that we've got that one established, we want something to hold the card that we're holding up. So we want this card to lean up against this card. Aha. Now we're holding this one into place, holding this one into place, which is holding this one in place, which is holding this one in place. So we need one more to get a structure that's going to stand on its own. That means we've got to complete the square by leaning this one up against this one. Aha! Now as you can see, all of them are leaning up against each other and they're standing all on their own. Now you kind of want to hold your breath here. I'm kind of speaking away from the cards because the structure's still not perfect. You want to make sure, of course, that all of your walls are touching for the most part. So you don't want there to be many gaps in your little square here. Here you can sort of just start building off how you like. You want to keep that pattern of having a card leaning up against another card, of course. So that one's going to lean up against that one. And then from there, well, I can put one here that's going to lean up against that one. And now onto this center square, we can kind of just keep building as long as we're careful. So what else can I put here? Well, over here I can lean a card up against there. And then, well, I can lean up a card against here. And you can keep going until you're satisfied with your base. Now you want to make sure at least most of your cards are touching. There's not too many rogue agents at play here. So as you can see, once you've got that center square done, 90% of your work is done. The hardest part is getting that center square. Now that we've got a whole grid building off of our center, well, we're going to build a roof. Now, there's not really any sort of rhyme or reason to building the roof. You can kind of just start setting cards very carefully on top. Though, Brian Berg, the guy who's sort of championed this method, he says you want your cards to be facing number up because apparently cards have a natural shape, a bend like that. So just sort of build your roof. Now guys, you don't want your roof to be too thick because it's going to start to make a dome and nothing's going to really sit on top of a dome. So I've got maybe about 2.5 layers all throughout here. And from here on out, honestly, you don't have to be that careful. You just start by building another grid. So remember, you get one card to lean up against one card and then another card to lean up against that one.
Oh goodness.
So as you can see, I've actually done that same grid pattern, getting one card to lean up against another one, holding that one, and so on, and I've built a whole other grid on top of our first layer. isn't that wild. So now you can do the same thing you did before and sort of just start to lean cards against other cards. Now, this is going to take some practice. I've built a few houses of cards now that I've learned this, but if it gives you any solace, I just learned this yesterday. So now I've got 2 levels on my house, and look at this. I'm building another roof. So I'm not even all the way through my deck of cards, and we've already put 2 levels on our house. Now, if you want to make a substantial structure, you're probably going to need more than 1 deck of cards, but I'm thinking I can maybe put 3 levels on this. Before that, I don't want my structure to fall before we do a pressure test. Now, this is a really cool thing. Barring this might not hold, but I've seen a house of cards hold a whole concrete block. So let's test this out. I've got a heavy jar of papers here. The jar itself is made of glass. It's very heavy. Let's check it out. Ready, guys? Oh no, it didn't hold, and that's okay. What's great is you can keep on trying to build, and right now I'm going to show you a picture of one of my other houses of cards holding up a very heavy candle. Pretty cool, eh? And I encourage you to check out the description, check out some of Brian Berg's structures. Again, he invented this grid structure. It can be really fun, it can be as big as you want. Honestly, I've been having a blast with them. So, that's it for our 3 things you can do with cards. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoy Pyramid. I hope you get to blow some minds with your magic tricks. And I hope you spend many hours of patient concentration on your card houses. As always, guys, we want to see what your products look like, so please send us some pictures, send us some videos of your card tricks, your houses. I mean, you can even send us a picture of your pyramid score. Up to you. But if you want, message us over Facebook, text our number, or email us on Outlook. We love to see it. Guys, if you have any sorts of questions, feel free to contact us, and please check out those links in the description, and you can learn a lot more about all you can do with only these 52 cards. And don't forget, we've still got our contest going on for another few days, our Love Serenade contest. Yes, we want you to sing to us. Please send us your TikToks, your videos, your Snapchats, whatever. We want to see your videos of you singing, professing your love, singing some sort of love song. Please embarrass yourselves and send them to us, and you might just be able to win a prize. Yes, every participant that enters gets entered into a draw for a prize. Again, thank you guys so much for watching and participating in February's activities. I hope you enjoyed them, and we'll see you next time. Take care.